Now, it's not very exciting to buy insurance against something that hasn't even happened yet or may not ever happen. But what if I told you that your warm-ups when you run or work out could be treated like insurance? A bet against what could happen in the future. Now, I know a lot of you guys out there are skipping your warm-ups before your run, before your workout. Why? Because it's not the main event. It is not what's written in the plan, and it's certainly in your head not gonna be what gets you through that finish line. Now, if you don't have a lot of time, especially in that lunch break or right after work and you have to get home to the family, you don't wanna waste time on that warm-up. You wanna get straight to the main event. The warm-up almost feels like this vague toll to pay. But what we do know we want is results from our daily workouts. We wanna squeeze out every last bit of juice from every daily workout so that eventually we reach our goals, that 5K finish, that half marathon finish. We know that those workouts, when done at their max capacity, will give us that. I like to compare warm-ups before workouts to a slingshot. The farther back you pull, the farther the object's going to go. In other words, your warm-up directly correlates with your workout and how effective it's going to be for you. The warm-ups allow you to get more out of the workout, to be more powerful during the workout, and to, of course, make more progress down the road. So the dilemma becomes, yes, I know the warm-up's important, but I don't want to make that much time for it every day. Thinking of a 10-minute warm-up before even getting to the workout day after day is exhausting. And if you've never really spent time on your warm-ups, your norm is just jumping right in, and it's going to be really hard to transition, even if you know the guaranteed benefits. Lucky for you guys, I was so tired of having that daily debate that what I did was I developed a routine that would work in just 3 minutes to give me amazing results. I have seen my speed increase, my run form improve, and I have gotten over several race finish lines using just this 3-minute routine. First up is the Kang Squat. This is a combination of a flat back over or a good morning and a squat position, alternating back and forth between the two. This one does wonders for warming up your entire posterior chain, your whole backside. With the Kang Squat, we put our hands behind our head, we stick the hips out behind us. With a flat back, we fold over to be parallel to the ground with our knees slightly bent. We then lift our chest to stay low and find the bottom of a squat position. Then we go back to the flat back that we originally found, parallel to the ground with slightly bent knees. And then we push the hips forward to stand all the way straight to the top. I like the Kang Squat because it enforces good run form. As we push our hips forward in the exercise, we then remind ourselves when we go running to do the same, which helps us engage the glutes and take load off of the low back and spine. One thing that people get wrong with the Kang Squat is not keeping the core engaged. Remember to keep that belly button tight to the spine to protect the back from feeling strained as you flat back over and lower to the squat. Next up is that downward dog to plank shift. This one starts in a plank position. You then raise your hips up, dropping the heels, shooting the head back through the arms to find that downward dog. After a few breaths at the downward dog, you come back to that plank and repeat back and forth for that movement. I like this one because it opens up the range of motion in both our shoulders and our ankles. For the shoulders, when those are nice and warmed up, we can find our biggest arm swing when we run, and that allows us to find more power and more speed. With the ankles, the looser and more warmed up they are, we're able to find that pulling motion when we run, which lessens the impact on our body and keeps us from getting those shin splints. Before I show you guys the last two exercises, I did want to tell you that if you ever want to just follow along for the 3-minute warm-up with me, you can click down in the description. We have a link to that TRE mobile app, and you'll see the warm-up right in there. Super easy, press play, and we get that done for you. Now we come back up to standing for exercise number 3, which is the single leg deadlift. This is an even tougher version of that Kang Squat in some ways, as it really primes the hamstrings for max balance and max length. This is a great one for speed days or track workouts. With the single leg deadlift, we put all of our weight onto one leg, leaving the other leg lightly touching the ground or off completely. We slightly bend that standing leg and we shoot the hips back, flat back over like we did in the Kang Squat, and rather than finding a squat from there, we just push the hips forward to stand. The biggest mistake I see with this one is putting the stretch and strain in the back and not the back of the leg. So if you are someone who struggles with tight hamstrings, I recommend you take a larger bend in that standing leg to ensure your back stays flat as you bend over so that the work is being done on the hamstrings and not the low back. Lastly, we hit the adductors or the inner thighs. We finish this warm-up with one of my favorites, a little hop in and out with 2 feet over a line. This ensures our heart rate spikes a little bit, which is important in a warm-up, and it makes sure those ankles and shins are really ready to land multiple times over the course of a run. So we find an imaginary line on the ground and we start with our 2 feet together on it. From here, we take a small bend, a small half squat, and we jump our feet out as wide as we can away from the line, and we land in that same mini squat. We then bring the feet back together to jump in. Back and forth we go on this one, making sure that the heels kiss the ground every time. The biggest mistake I see here is not controlling the spine with the core through those jumps. If we don't control the core through those jumps, how do we expect to do it in that run right after? Now, here's how we put it together for that warm-up. You're gonna start with 10 Kang squats. Flat back over to the squat, back to flat back, and stand up is 1. 10 of those. Then you're gonna go down to the ground. Plank to downward dog is 1. You're gonna do that 10 times. You're gonna then stand up for those single leg deadlifts, 10 per leg. After that, we're gonna finish with those hops in and out. In and out is 1. You're gonna do 30 times of that. For any movement that doesn't feel quite right, stay in it a bit longer, spend the extra time where you need to. Otherwise, you go through that once and you're ready to go. Now, I had a big realization that I hope you can now take from this video, which is that warm-ups don't need to be 0 or 100. The in-between, that 3-minute routine, repeated day after day, can be your insurance policy against getting injured and provide you the results you want, getting through any race distance finish at the speed you want to. I did a 7-minute follow-along warm-up routine that has been very popular in this run community. It has gotten you guys those race PRs, it has warmed your hips up, it has helped mitigate those aches and pains before you start, and gotten that heart rate up so you have the most enjoyable run possible. Check it out, and I will see you guys another day.